Hello everybody and welcome back. My name is Gavin Fish and this is my channel. I really appreciate you taking some time to check me out, hear what I have to say as I continue my coverage of the death of Gabby Petito at the hands of, at least I believe, her fiance Brian Laundrie. That is my opinion, and it sure seems to be what the evidence suggests. Today I've got a little bit of a document dump, and it is thanks to, once again, I'm going to use this term, intrepid viewers who send me documents that they find online. And these documents are going, well, for me, they have shed light on quite a bit. Before I really get into it, if you please would subscribe to the channel, I would really appreciate that. Only though, if you think I deserve it and you like the content that I'm delivering here. Otherwise, totally cool. Also, if you would please, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you dislike this video, please give it a thumbs down. That helps me know what kind of content you like to watch. Okay, so just a quick backstory. This is going to be the very, very short version. I got a couple of different emails. When you go to my website, if you need to reach me, you click on contact and you can fill out this form. And this is my favorite I guess, field right here, and that is you can upload files to me. If you don't know kind of my shtick here on YouTube when it comes to true crime, I am a documents man. I really love to dig into details that are fact and are provable. That doesn't mean that I don't go to Speculationville from time to time, because I definitely do. But several people have uploaded documents to me, and that has gotten... well, that has gotten me for the reason, or to the place that I'm making this video on. I mean, wow, that was a really terrible sentence, but you guys are following me. If you also go onto the website and you click on cases, click on Gabby Petito, you will see on this page that there are a whole bunch of documents. And if you have gone to this page before, you might recognize that there are a whole bunch more documents that haven't been there before. So, and then also there is a timeline that I have done some updating to today that we're going to go over a little bit, because some of the documents that I got today have changed the timeline. At least I think they've changed the timeline. So let me... I guess the next thing that I should do is just kind of backstory this. Okay, I got an email through the website with a screenshot of a document that looked like an official court document. And I thought, wait a minute, if people can get official court documents, and this is a federal case, right? This is the U.S. versus Brian Laundrie, then I should be able to get those documents too. And so what I did is I went into a system called Pacer. Pacer is the public access to court electronic records. And when there is a federal case, they're all listed here. Now you have to have an account and you have to pay for access and all this stuff. But if you guys want to, you certainly can. This is the case number you want to look for. That is Brian Laundrie. Of course, I just did a party search and I found him. Now, when I logged in, what I found is, and it's just a screen grab on this. These are all the official files. Let me kind of drag that in so you can see all that. There we go. These are all the official files that we have on the case. Okay, and they are ordered in date filed, not necessarily in a number here. And actually, this is a little bit of a, this is tangential. This is a tangent. But I noticed that the warrant issued for Brian Laundrie was issued before the case was unsealed. Look, the warrant was on the 22nd. The case was unsealed on the 23rd. And if you'll remember, that warrant, when they announced it, somebody help me out on this. When they announced it, it included the indictment, but maybe they announced it after the 23rd. I don't know. Okay. So anyway, there are 11 documents in here. I'm going to go through each and every one of them, except for number 10, because this is a non-public document, and it is basically the arrest warrant return which came back as unarrested. So that return it does not qualify as a public document, apparently. So let's just go ahead and go through these documents. And guys, if you have questions about this, leave them in the comments below. I know that I'm thousands and thousands of comments behind on answering all of them, but I will try to keep my eye on this. And if you have any type of idea about what some of these mean, let me know. But because there are 11 new documents, and one of them is sealed, but I actually have one other document that came from another source. Again, it was a screen grab, and it was low quality, but I was able to find the original. So we do have 11 documents to go through today. So let me go over to Acrobat for a second, and I'll share screen. Okay, so this is a document that we already had. This is, we've gone over this in a previous video. This was the indictment of Brian Christopher Laundrie in using a Capital One bank debit card ending in 8774. Now, I'm going to get to this a little later on in the video because we have another document that supports, I guess, that goes along with this document that's going to help us in our timeline. If you remember, we go back to the website, not only do we have documents in the case, and so many documents in the case, but we have a very detailed and well-sourced factual timeline on the website as well. And I've done some work on this based on your input, viewer input, and then the documents that I received today. Okay, so so we've seen the indictment, and I've done a previous video on this. Okay, this happened. This is document number 1. It was filed on 9/22. Actually, this, by the way, this is important because this wasn't released, but the penalty summary here, just so you guys know, if he is convicted of the offense of using or trafficking in unauthorized access devices, he can be imprisoned up to 10 years, have up to a $250,000 fine, and then 3 years of probation after the fact. So this is not a little thing. It is compared to murder, right? But this is not a little thing. He can get 10 years. And if he is convicted of the murder of Gabby Petito and he's convicted of this, he'll probably never see the light of day ever again. Okay, the next document that was listed here was the motion for detention hearing. So basically what they're saying, what they're arguing here is that they don't, once they capture Brian Laundrie, they do not want to release him. And so they went to court to file this motion for detention in perpetuity, right? So basically said the case is eligible for a detention order because the case involves a serious risk the defendant will flee. Of course, by the time they had filed this, he already had a serious risk of obstruction of justice. To me, that tells me that they already have evidence that there has been hiding of evidence, right? So whether that, well, on the account of Brian Laundrie, it says nothing about Roberta and Christopher. So the reason for detention is the defendant's appearance is required and safety of any other person and the community. So they believe that Brian Laundrie not only is a risk to flee, but also a risk to other people. And yeah, it's that motion was filed. Okay, so let's go to the next one here. This is a precipe for the clerk to issue a warrant. So basically, and I think that I don't know that I'm pronouncing that correctly. If I were saying it in Latin, it would be praecipe, but I have no idea how we say it Englishified. Basically, this is an order from the U.S. attorney to have the district court clerk issue a warrant. And then the next thing that happened was there was a motion to seal the indictment. And they wanted that indictment sealed until Brian Laundrie was in custody or has been released pending trial. Of course, they had also made a motion for him never to be released. So then the next thing that happened was a magistrate judge ordered the case to be sealed, or at least the indictment to be sealed. And this happened on September 22nd. Okay. Next thing to happen was the arrest warrant. Now, if you'll remember, the indictment, which I think is this one, he said he was in violation of 18 U.S. Code subsection 1029A2. But when we got to the arrest warrant, it said 1029A1. This is something that I pointed out in a previous video. But this was 9/22 when they issued the arrest warrant. We've all seen this document. And then on 9/23, the day later, they made a decision to unseal the case, and they made a motion to the judge to unseal the case. Probably because the FBI felt that if they could release the warrant and the indictment, that would make the public more helpful in understanding what was going on. I really wish that when they did that, they would have also released what the penalty would be. But anyway, they made that motion to unseal the case, and then the order from Judge Rankin to unseal the case happened on the 23rd of September, and I'm guessing, I don't remember my timeline, we'll take a look at it, but that is when they made the public announcement. Okay, this is actually something that I find encouraging. They did amend the arrest warrant to say the law that he was indicted on. So the use of unauthorized devices. And guys, I'm grateful not only that they did this, but that they have to do this. That original arrest warrant was invalid. He had not been indicted on those charges. And so they had to go through the process of validating the arrest warrant, which they did on the 24th of September. And then there is a second page that they left blank that we also have. On the 30th, the last document that really kind of is in that file, if we go back to this, the last public document is a notice of attorney appearance. So what we have is that there's a new attorney. She's an assistant U.S. attorney underneath Robert Murray, the acting U.S. attorney, Stephanie I. Sprecher, I don't know how to pronounce her name, Sprecher, I don't know. But it appears that she is going to be joining the crew, the team that prosecutes this case. Okay, so those are all the documents that we found. I would love to see what you guys think about those documents, all the court documents. We have one other document to go through. And just so you know, just to remind you, if you go to Gabby's case page, all of these documents have been added to the document page. You can view them, or you can actually download each and every one of them. And hopefully you guys will use this as a way to sleuth out information that maybe I have glossed over. Okay, the last document that I want to show you today is this one that you can download. This came from an intrepid viewer who found it. I'm going to, let's see, go over to Acrobat. Basically, this is one that was found as a screen grab, and I was able to find the original document. So this came out from the Pooler, Georgia Police Department, showing Brian Laundrie committing financial transaction card fraud at the Shell gas station at 196, let me zoom in on this, 196 Pooler Parkway on 8/28/2021. Do you know what that means, guys? That means that Brian Laundrie, I think this is him, pretty sure this is him, that means that he was already out of Wyoming by 8:28. And let me tell you why I think that's important. If we go to our timeline, we're going to scroll on down. I've added, this, by the way. I've added a lot, so you guys can check it out. Okay, so on 8/28, Brian Laundrie uses Gabby's Capital One card in Pooler, Georgia. But we have witnesses that say that they picked up Brian Laundrie in Jackson, Wyoming on the 29th at 5:30 p.m. And then another one said they picked him up at 6:15 p.m. Okay, so I want to know what you guys think on this. Either Brian made it all the way to the east, right? He's actually in the southeast in Pooler, Georgia on 8/28. So what I'm wondering, does that mean he went back and was back on the 29th? And guys, that is a hike from Georgia to Wyoming. That is a long drive. Let's actually look at that. If I go to maps on Google, and I'm just going to put in Pooler, Georgia, and let's get directions to Jackson Hole, Wyoming. That is, if he drives straight through, 31 hours. If we look at this document, I'm going to the wrong spot, sorry. Here we go. If we go to the document, he was there at 11:45. I believe that is 11:45 a.m. on the 28th. And then if we go to the timeline, he was seen at 5:30 p.m. on the 29th. So technically, he had enough time to go back there. If it takes 31 hours driving straight through, right? No bathroom breaks or picking up gas. So let's say 33 hours. I think that's still enough time, because 11:45 a.m. on the 29th would be 24 hours. Let's say he needs 8 more hours. So 12:45, 1:45, 2:45, 3:45, 4:45, 5:45, 6 hours later. Guys, that's barely enough time. Barely enough time. So I guess what I'm wondering is what you think. I mean, was Brian Laundrie picked up by 2 people hitchhiking? Did he go all the way out towards home, make it to Pooler, Georgia? Let's look at that again. Pooler, Georgia. Wow. Hold on. Let me show you my screen. Sorry, guys. I'm like, he's clear onto the coast of Georgia. His home is south of Tampa Bay. So he's gone way out of his way to get to Pooler. So yeah, so what do you guys think? I mean, did he go all the way to the coast almost and then all the way back, or did the witnesses not know? They thought it was Brian and they picked up somebody who looked like Brian but wasn't Brian. That is my question for you. And with that, I shall bid you adieu, and I hope to read your comments and hope to see you the next time. Take care. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you liked what you saw, please subscribe to my channel. And if you have any comments or questions, please leave them below.